Her entire world was confined to just 8 square meters. That space, measured thousands of times by her own footsteps each day, became the boundary of her existence. The exhaust fan on the wall was her only link to the outside world. If she could turn back time, she would never have talked back to her mother that morning. Because of one slap, Lucy didn't wait for her mom to walk her to school as usual. Instead, she set off alone, and on the way, a man dragged her into a truck by force. The street was empty at that moment. Only one girl witnessed what happened. When Lucy regained consciousness, she was already locked in a bare room no larger than 8 square meters. She cried out for help, but no one answered. Meanwhile, her mother was frantic. News reports and newspapers were filled with stories about Lucy's disappearance. Her mother desperately hoped for some sign of her daughter, yet feared the worst. To pass the time, Lucy pretended to be a teacher, using a couple of clothes as props for roleplay. At only 10 years old, she didn't fully grasp the seriousness of her situation. She even wrote a letter to her mother, asking the man to mail it. The message was simple. She just wanted her mom to come and find her. But that plea for survival made the man realize the danger. With harsh words and violent gestures, he tried to crush Lucy's hope of going home. He locked the wooden door, crawled out through a half-meter opening, carefully shut it, then pushed a safe against the hole. Each time he left, he removed his coat and shoes to avoid leaving traces behind. One day, 2 police officers tracked down the only witness, the girl who had seen the abduction. She couldn't remember the license plate, but she clearly recalled it was a white truck. The officers went to the man's house and asked to check the vehicle. But after more than 10 days, he had already destroyed all evidence. Had the police been more thorough that day, they might have found the basement beneath their feet. Instead, Lucy missed her first chance at rescue. In the dim basement, there was no sunlight, no hope. To prove she was still alive, Lucy gathered her courage and asked the man for a piece of chalk. He agreed on the condition that she obeyed. With the chalk, Lucy drew a little cat on the wall. That cat became her companion. On the wooden door, she sketched a lock, wishing one day she could open it herself. Day 1690, Lucy turned 15. When her first period came, she nervously asked to take a shower. The man recoiled in disgust, hiding in the corner and cursing at her. A girl her age should have been cared for by her mother, but instead she endured mockery in a dark basement. Perhaps because she had behaved well recently, the man allowed her to go upstairs to bathe. That half-meter opening had kept her trapped for 4 years. The light streaming through it was the floor for normal people, but for her, it was the ceiling she could never reach. Her frail legs trembled uncontrollably with excitement. That trembling was the sound of freedom, a world meant for others but not for her. Not long after, the man found a golden strand of hair on himself, Lucy's hair. Ignoring her protests, he shaved her head. No freedom, no dignity, she was merely his possession. Day 1837, Lucy spent her first Christmas in the basement. The man gave her 2 books. Such small gifts filled her with joy. She loved to read, drawing strength from poetry. But the holiday also reminded her of family. The man ordered her not only to forget them, but to forget who she was. That day, Lucy finally learned his name, Alan. She longed for home, just as her family longed for her. For 5 years, her mother never stopped believing Lucy was alive, living each day consumed by guilt. Day 1956, Lucy was taken into Alan's bedroom. From then on, whenever he desired, she no longer returned to the basement. To prevent escape, Alan would tie their hands together. Gradually, Lucy became his servant. Whenever he was displeased, she was beaten. As the abuse wore down her body and spirit, Alan grew careless. He even began taking Lucy outside. But each time, he warned her he carried a gun. Any attempt to flee would be met with instant punishment. Even so, Lucy never abandoned the thought of escape. Day 2093, Lucy was brought to a public place for the first time. Alan left her alone in front of a shelf of paint cans. After 6 years, this was her chance. One cry for help would have saved her, but years of brainwashing clouded her judgment. While she battled the voices in her mind, Alan returned. Lucy was devastated. Day 2847, her second chance arrived, this time at a ski resort. As a beginner, she couldn't rely on skill to get away. She could only seize an opportunity where gender might give her cover. When Alan confirmed the women's restroom was empty, he allowed her to enter alone. What he didn't know, someone else was already inside.